All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving into the future, Mercedes-Benz style.
Yeah, we're talking AI that's more like a co-pilot than a chauffeur, revolutionary battery tech, even a glimpse of what our roads might look like in a few decades.
And we're basing this deep dive on this article, Mercedes Future Cars, Between Fiction and Reality. It's a really interesting blend of those pie-in-the-sky ideas and then like the actual tech that could make it happen.
It definitely blurs the line. I mean, when I first skimmed it, I thought, okay, is this science fiction or a car manual?
Right. But that's what makes it so interesting for us to unpack. So let's start with like the big picture. It's not just about concept cars, right?
Definitely not. We're talking a fundamental shift in how Mercedes-Benz sees the role of AI in driving. It's not just about like getting you safely from point A to point B.
Yeah, it's not just, oh, the car can drive itself now. This is next level stuff.
Totally. The article talks about AI that anticipates your needs. It's almost like having a driving partner, one who can adapt to how you want to drive.
I find that part so fascinating. Like, imagine your car sensing you've had a crazy day at work and then, adjusting the music or something?
Exactly. The article even suggests AI could, work with things like ambient lighting or even maybe a scent diffuser to help you de-stress. I mean, how wild is that?
So your commute basically becomes a spa session on wheels.
Yeah.
That's redefining luxury.
It really is. Mercedes-Benz is pushing the idea that luxury isn't just about, fancy leather seats anymore. It's about creating this haven for your senses and using tech to do it.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But let's talk about something a little more down to earth, maybe. The article also highlights this huge push for solid-state batteries.
Yeah.
Is this really the game changer for electric cars everyone's saying it is?
I think it has the potential to be. One of the biggest drawbacks to electric vehicles now is honestly the battery.
The range anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. And the long charging times. But solid-state batteries, they have this much greater energy density.
Okay, for those of us who aren't, battery experts, what does that actually mean? Greater energy density.
Basically, it means you could charge your car way, way faster. Think more along the lines of filling up your gas tank now.
Wait, seriously? So, no more mapping out your entire life around charging stations?
That's the idea. The article talked about how Mercedes is aiming for charging times comparable to what we're used to with gasoline cars.
Now, that would be huge. But, is this even realistic? Or is this, way off in the future?
It's definitely still in development, yeah. But the fact that Mercedes-Benz is investing so heavily in it, that tells you something.
It sounds like they're really betting on this technology.
Yeah, they seem to be all in.
Interesting. And it's not just the cars themselves, is it? I mean, the article also touched on this whole smart highway system they're envisioning. What's the deal with that?
So imagine a world where your car can talk to the road, and the road can talk back. They're constantly sharing information.
Wait, so more than just my GPS telling me there's traffic ahead?
Way more. We're talking about sensors embedded in the roads that could tell your car about black ice up ahead, a hazard you can't even see yet, that kind of thing.
And then your car would automatically slow down or something.
Or even suggest a safer route. The idea is to create this completely connected system that makes driving safer and more efficient.
So no more accidents. Is that what they're going for here?
Well, I don't think anyone's promising that, but it could drastically reduce them. And think about the impact on traffic flow. If cars are constantly communicating with each other and with the road itself, you could potentially eliminate a lot of that stop-and-go congestion.
It'd be like having a traffic conductor for the entire highway.
Exactly.
So how would this even work, though? Would we need to, rip up all our roads and start from scratch?
It's not quite that drastic. The article talked about how Mercedes-Benz is looking at ways to integrate this technology into existing infrastructure. So maybe starting with pilot programs in major cities and then gradually expanding from there.
So like a slow rollout.
Exactly. And eventually, you could have entire regions connected by these smart highways.
That's wild. It's like they're building an internet, but for cars.
That's a really good way to put it.
And just like the internet, that could completely revolutionize how we get around. But what about the environmental impact of all of this? Would these smart highways actually be better for the planet?
I think there's huge potential there. Think about it. If we can make traffic flow more smoothly, that means less idling, less wasted fuel. And that translates to fewer emissions.
So it's not just about convenience. It could actually help reduce our carbon footprint.
Exactly. It's about finding sustainable solutions for the future of transportation. And that's something that Mercedes-Benz seems to be taking very seriously.
So we've got AI that's practically reading our minds, cars that charge in minutes, and roads that talk. I mean, this is a lot to process. But I'm curious about what it all means for us as drivers. Are we even going to be driving in the future, or will it all be automated?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that, honestly, I don't think anyone has a definitive answer to yet. But what's interesting is Mercedes-Benz isn't necessarily trying to take away that control.
Oh, so it's not like they're saying everyone will be driven by robots soon.
No, not at all. The article actually highlighted how they see this evolving more like giving drivers options, so you get to choose how much you want to be in control.
So like my car could drive itself on autopilot during the week when I'm commuting, but then on the weekends, I could still take it for a spin on my own.
Yeah, exactly. It's about having that flexibility, and letting the car adapt to you, not the other way around.
I like that. But okay, I have to ask about this other part of the article. The whole cars becoming command centers for our lives. That felt a little, I don't know, far-fetched, even for me.
I get it. It sounds pretty futuristic, but I mean, think about how much we already use our phones for everything. Mercedes-Benz is kind of just taking that idea to the next level.
So instead of just connecting my phone to my car basically becomes my phone.
In a way, yeah. You could be stuck in traffic and still, attend a virtual meeting for work, or preheat your oven on your way home from the grocery store, all from your car's dashboard.
Okay, that is pretty handy. But doesn't that seem a little, I don't know, too connected? Are we really going to be answering work emails while we're stuck in traffic? Is that the future we want?
It's definitely a valid concern, and it's something the article touched on as well. Mercedes-Benz is aware of those potential downsides. That's why they're focusing on, designing user interfaces that prioritize safety and help drivers avoid distractions.
Yeah, because the last thing we need is more distractions when we're driving, right?
Exactly. So it's this balancing act, figuring out how to harness the power of that connectivity without it, completely taking over our lives.
Finding that balance is going to be key. But okay, on a slightly lighter note, I wanted to circle back to the part about the modular design. That's where they were talking about cars becoming customizable, almost like Legos, right?
Yeah. It's a really cool concept. Basically, instead of buying a whole new car when your needs change, you could just swap out certain parts or modules.
So if I need more cargo space for a camping trip, I could just, add on an extra trunk module or something?
Exactly. Or say you're going on a road trip and want to upgrade to a more powerful battery. You could just swap out your existing one for a long-range version.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So much more flexible than how we buy cars now.
Right. And it makes a lot more sense from a sustainability perspective too. You're not scrapping an entire car just because you need a little more space or a different feature.
It's a total rethink of how we view car ownership. But speaking of the future, the article ended with this super intriguing glimpse into 2050. And I think I can guess where this is going.
Let me guess. Flying cars.
Had to, right? So are we really going to be zipping around and flying Mercedes anytime soon?
Okay, so it's important to remember that this is pure speculation at this point.
Right.
We're not all going to be soaring through the air tomorrow morning.
Yeah, where's the pity?
But the fact that Mercedes-Benz is even considering these possibilities, that's what I find so fascinating.
Yeah, they're not afraid to think big.
Exactly. And even if we don't have flying cars by 2050, who knows what other incredible innovations they'll come up with between now and then.
It's exciting to think about. But with all of this talk about, AI and futuristic tech, I'm also curious about something else. What does Mercedes see as the ultimate role of the car in the future?
That's a really big question.
It is.
And it's one that I think the article, in a way, was trying to get at. It's not just about transportation anymore, is it?
So what is it about?
It seems like Mercedes-Benz is envisioning a future where cars are almost an extension of our homes, our offices, even our digital identities.
So less of a car, more of a mobile living space.
Exactly. It's about creating this seamless, personalized experience that blends the physical and digital worlds in ways we can only just begin to imagine. And hey, who knows, maybe even takes us to the skies someday.
A girl can dream, right? But in all seriousness, Mercedes has some really ambitious plans. They seem determined to really shake things up.
Oh, absolutely. They're definitely not shying away from a challenge. And I think what's really exciting is that the future of driving, it isn't predetermined. It's something that all of us are shaping, With the choices we make, the technologies we embrace, it's a collaborative journey.
It really is. But I also keep thinking about something you said earlier about how Mercedes-Benz, they're not just focused on the technology itself, right? They're thinking about how it impacts people, like on a personal level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a crucial point because sometimes when we talk about all this futuristic tech, it's easy to get lost in the shiny objects.
Yeah, flying cars, robot chauffeurs, it's easy to get caught up in all that.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, technology is only as good as its ability to improve our lives, right?
So how does Mercedes-Benz see that happening? I mean, how does all of this actually translate to a better driving experience for everyday people?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine a world where instead of dreading your daily commute, you actually looked forward to it.
Okay, now that's a tough one. I mean, I live in the city. My commute is basically just me, yelling at other cars.
I hear you, I really do. But imagine if your car could take over during those stressful stop-and-go traffic jams.
So I could, zone out and listen to my podcast or something.
Exactly. Or even get a head start on your workday. I mean, if your car is basically driving itself, that opens up a lot of possibilities for, how we use that time.
That's true. I guess I'm so used to thinking of my car as just a way to get from point A to point B. But they're talking about something totally different.
Right. It's about transforming that experience, making it more enjoyable, more productive, maybe even more relaxing.
And it's not just about the AI either, right? I mean, we talked about those incredible interiors they're envisioning with seats that adjust to you and mood lighting and all that.
Exactly. They're really trying to create this sense of a sanctuary on wheels, a space that caters to your individual needs and preferences.
It's a whole different way of thinking about luxury. But okay, I have to ask this because honestly, it's the question that keeps coming up for me. With all of this talk about AI chauffeurs and cars that practically drive themselves, is there still a place for, the joy of driving in this future?
That is the big question, isn't it? And I'll be honest, it's one I've been wrestling with too.
Because part of me, and maybe this is the old school car enthusiast in me, but part of me worries that we're going to lose something if we just hand over the wheel to technology.
I get that. And honestly, I think there are some valid concerns there. But I also think we need to be careful about assuming that technology has to be an all or nothing proposition.
So it doesn't have to be humans versus robots, who's the better driver.
Right. Maybe it's not about choosing one or the other, but figuring out how to integrate both in a way that enhances the overall experience.
So we could have the best of both worlds.
Exactly. Imagine this during the week. Your Mercedes seamlessly handles the drudgery of your commute on autopilot, giving you back precious time in your day. But then come the weekend, you hit the open road, take the wheel yourself, and just enjoy the pure pleasure of driving.
Okay, now that's a future I can get behind. It's not about giving up control. It's about having choices, flexibility, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the most important message here. The future of driving isn't some predetermined path we're all on. It's a road we're creating together, one innovation at a time. And that's pretty exciting, don't you think?
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the future of Mercedes-Benz, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this isn't just about cars, it's about us. It's about how we want to live, how we want to move, how we want to connect with the world around us.
Well said. It's about envisioning a future where technology serves us, not the other way around.
And where we get to choose our own adventures, whether it's a self-driving commute or a weekend getaway with the wind in our hair. So to all of our listeners out there, what kind of future do you see on the road ahead